Hello and welcome to this first look exploring session looking at Club Law, a comedy acted in Clare Hall, Cambridge, sometime either 1599 or 1600. It is a slightly damaged play. We do not have the opening, and there are a couple of little bits also missing further into the text as well. And we have some slightly shaky attributions to who wrote it. But we'll leave that for another time and another place. We don't quite have enough people in the room to read this play, but we're going to have a go anyway. We hopefully will be joined by an additional reader in a moment, who will hopefully join us and fill out the numbers. But if not, then I will step in and read. But having said that, he appears, and yes, joining us in the room. We are Court, so that saves a lot of pain and misery further down the line. Reading today, Niphill, Cowper, and Mistress Niphill is...
Hi, I'm Greg, and I'm quite happy because I don't have quite so many characters to remember who I am in with this one.
Yeah, it's relatively straightforward. Also, with a relatively straightforward palette of parts, reading Spruce and Philenius is...
Hi, it's Tom from Brighton, and I never know who I am.
Reading Brecknock and Mistress Colby is...
It's me, Angela, based in London.
Reading Cricket and Gooseturd and Rumford is...
Hi, it's Desna from Lancaster, and I always get the characters with the best names.
Reading Tavie, who's a Welsh character written in vaguely phonetic Welsh, integrating unhelpful repeated words that could mean multiple different things, as well as Musonius and Monsieur is...
Hi, I'm Eric, and I don't know what day it is or what characters are or what plays are. I don't know. Is life a dream? I don't know. Maybe it's a nightmare.
And reading Sergeant Puff, Cowby, Ketlebasen, Moone, Hornsbie, Cooperburne, Anderton, and Colby is...
Hi, my name is Milo. I'm a cat.
Yes, it's going to be one of those sessions. So, Liza's reading all those parts with Cat Wrangler and Cat Wrestler, Liza Graham there. I, who am your host, Robert Crighton, I will be reading Catch and Cipher and reading stage directions. And hopefully nobody talks to themselves, but who knows? So, we're going to dive into Act 1. Scene 3, of which we have a huge amount. We don't have an Act 1, Scene 1 or 2. They're missing, so we're going to have to figure out what's going on on the fly, as it were. So, Act 1, Scene 3, we don't even know who's speaking. We've got a few lines of dialogue, and Desna will read whoever this is.
For our May Day, that ever you heard that I must about my business. I must tell my master. The sergeants will come, and the brougham man will be here on Saturday. They that are bound must obey.
And exit, probably, whoever that was. Act 1, Scene 4. Enter Niphill and Tavie.
For God, Tavie, well fare thy good heart. I had not thought Welshmen had been so honest. She was a bouncing wench. A smoker, i' faith.
Her very glad her airships turn her as never thought no, sooth. May her airships tell her as her host.
In faith, as sweet as a nut. A good-natured girl, I tell thee, Tavie. I had as levers and Lule, my wife, were as good constitution.
I hope her airships as think very well of her and her chance to be Mr. Bargain Master Pye's Cotter will let her be chief sergeant.
Tush, make no question of it. But, Sarah, if I must have one ready at call and command.
Call and command. Her may be assured she shall not find her unprovided of a prince scant wench, could be pleased and praised for it.
Well, hereafter we will consider of it. Here comes your old master, Brecknock.
Enter Brecknock.
Oh, is he gone? In good sooth, I was afraid heartily of this gentle Athenian. Surely we will take some course for this club law. Mr. Niphill, good morrow to you. You are welcome. Tavie, we have stayed from the court hall this hour for the sergeants. Is it not a shame, Mr. Niphill, that knaves that are maintained by our table should give no better attendance?
Let us come as soon as we can.
No, I am now going out of my office. You never regard me, but I'll speak a good word for you.
Nay, good Mr. Burgomaster, be not offended with him. Lay the blame upon me. I had some reason to employ him.
Nay, Mr. Niphill, the matter is not great betwixt you and me. Go, Sirrah, run for the rest of your fellows.
Nay, her has fetched her with a pox.
I am now rendering up of my office. I pray God he that comes after me may perform the duty no better than I have done. God send you good shipping this year. I thank God I have passed the billows of the sea. I leave my office.
I hope, sir, if it be bestowed upon me, so to carry myself that I will not only follow your good proceedings, but also if it may be, go before you in government.
Ay, I doubt not but you will. But how do your good bedfellow?
Oh, by my truth, sir, she is troubled with the trembling of the tongue.
It pleaseth you to say so, sir. But I wonder these knaves sergeants come not away. We must be their men, and wait upon their honours. Ah, here they come. Your worships be welcome.
Yes, for a sergeant has entered.
Small worship, sir.
Come, come, where be the rest of our society? Methinks it is the finest sight to see us go by gold together. But Tavie, run to Mr. Spruce, our town clerk.
Enter Spruce.
Hey, stay, here he comes. Puff, presently, Puff, fetch Mr. Rumford. Tell me of such a dwarf, I never saw such a long fellow. Good morrow, Mr. Spruce.
Good morrow, gentlemen. When shall this our duty to perform to put off the pristine head?
Put off! 'Tis pity such a pretty head should off.
Tush, you misconceive me.
No. My wife never missed conceiving in her life.
Enter Cricket.
Andy Faith, loggerhead, are you there? I would these apples were balls of lead, that they might but brain one of you. But take this as it is.
And Cricket hits Mr. Burgomaster's head with an apple.
Oh, is there no officers? Such wrong! Some gentlemen seen it after him, sergeants after him!
The sergeants run after him. A noise within. Hold, keep,
Hold!
stop.
Keep! Stop!
This is strange. They will offer us this indignity being in this show.
They dare do anything they think to offer us any wrong.
Aye, even now a little ape as big as my boy Jack struck at me with his club, and I should not come within him for fear his knife.
By your lady, but we must have some remedy against this club law. But who was it?
If in doubt, Liza, it's you.
A little ape, I think, as high as my knee. He took me such a rip-rap on the head and told me 'twas club law, and away he got between my legs and gave me such a pestilent fall.
Why, what a company of boobies were ye? Could you not catch him?
As take her lodging, and tear the gentle Athenians keep her there till her as not have her.
Well, let us away, and unless we be troubled with more of them. Why, Puff, hast thou forgot thyself? Call Mr. Rumford.
And Puff goes.
Methinks this burgomastership sits heavier upon me than my head upon my shoulders. Come, let's be gone, and fetch Mr. Colby, and return present.
Mr. Rumford comes, sir. He'll meet you at Mr. Colby's house.
Well.
And they exit. I think it's a good point to at the end of that scene. We should pause briefly, just to because obviously we've started 3 scenes in effectively. There's a lot going on. There's a whole world. There are a lot of really terrible jokes. Some of which are landing, some of which are not. There seems to be an awful lot of double entendres and things going on here all the way through, and there seems to be chaos. And of course, we were talking about this before we started recording about what is club law, and Angela hunted it out for us, so this is the law of the club basically. We've got a big stick, therefore we'll do whatever we like. Huzzah. And it does seem that there's some chaos going on as Cricket hit someone with an apple there. So seems quite chaotic, and so there's a lot going on. Any questions? I think rather than any thoughts at this stage, Angela.
I wonder if Cricket's so named because he chucks a ball at somebody's head. That would be quite good, wouldn't it?
Well, a red ball. One would hope. Apple, kind of thing. Maybe it should be in cricket whites. The modern game of cricket, of course, doesn't really exist at this point. But I don't know what predecessing versions might be about. But obviously, they bowl in a very different fashion.
Yeah, but cricket exists.
But not as the modern form. That's just. But anyway, Eric.
I'm just wondering how, there's Athenians and sort of, I don't know where we are, and also there's a Welshman. That is, or is the allusions to Athenians just like a sort of a parallel or like a comparison? Because there's, if we're in Athens, then there's no Welshman. I don't know where on earth this is said.
I'm pretty sure an Athenian might be slang for a prostitute in this context.
We do seem to have an awful lot of references to sex and engagement with women in certain ways there. So that could be it. Angela?
Well, I just wondered, is the Athens a reference? I mean, it could well be that as well, but is it also that this is a corporation where there's supposed to be elections? That's what Athens is. It's about democracy. So I don't know whether that might help here.
Yes,
as well.
that might be to do with what's going on here, because it does seem that we are in some sort of society where that kind of thing might be going on. We should gather more data. I'm sure it will become clearer as we go in. But I thought we'd pause it. We'll let it have its head for a while, and now that we've got our confusions in, or we'll see what happens. Anyway, Act 1, Scene 5. Enter Cricket.
Are you gone? God speed you well. Oh, if the old Welsh rogue would have but followed me into the hall, that we might but have the villain to the pump, we would have given him skull's punishment, if Oh, Lord, that I could but save me as much money as would buy me a Scottish dagger to prick the villains. I have a huge great dictionary as big as myself almost. I'll sell that and buy me a dagger. It shall be even so. I would durst, if I could find in my heart but for my tutor. These tutors are such troublesome things. By the mass, he hath one. I'll steal that and save the money. But here comes gravities. I'll give them the cringe.
Enter the Philenius and Musonius.
But Musonius, did thou hear it of any certainty?
Make no question of it. See this little villain, 20 to 1, but he hath committed some good jest or other.
Oh, Mr. Philenius, how do you do? Mr. Musonius, how fares your body?
You little rake hell, how chanceth it you are not at your study?
Thou wantest but a little breechings.
Good Lord, breeching, nothing but breeching and study. Why, they are the two worst things in the world. Methinks it is the childish thing to be breeched, so schoolboy-like. As for the other, it is not so good as they say it is.
Well, sirrah, what business have you here?
Some rake helly trick or other?
Oh, Lord, sir, no, but a little mirth with the Sir Reverence of the town. I'll tell you, sirs, Mr. Brecknock the chandler, the burgomaster I mean, and I have had a full meet, but I got the wall of him, and he came to catch me, but I was for him. But even now, if you had seen what a race we had.
A race? May I entreat you upon that occasion?
Oh, Lord, sir, the apple wench used me very hardly, and I in a collar, as men are subject unto passions, hurled them away, and by good fortune hit Mr. Burgomaster on the head. After came the sergeants, away go I, there was hold, stop, keep, here, there, but I outran the fat sergeant at a plain race, and turned short again and gave him such a knock that I brake his head the daintiest, but you could not but choose to laugh.
Well, sirrah, you are a wag.
You must come over.
Come over again? Oh, God, that I were but as you are. I would have it better with these clowns.
Clowns, sir boy.
Aye, clowns. Nay, if we have breeching, study, coming over again, sir boy, I'll leave you. The world will never be better so long as such staid gravities have anything to do. We can do nothing for them, but about more knaveries, I'll persecute them.
Exit cricket.
Faith, Monsieur, this boy hath a good nimble wit. Dost thou not see how he is moved with these things, whereof we seem careless? Why could a man behold such a rabble of loggerheads with practice?
Why, Philenius, these are fitter to move pity than procure patience to see a herd of asses thinking themselves a troop of sages. I would never wish a better object to my senses than these.
Why, but canst thou be well pleased to see such sepulchres, the image of divine authority, and by them govern others which can scarcely manage their own affairs?
As well as see Venus' shrine presented with base mold, when there is sufficient matter wanting, you must accept that which is most proportionable to perfection.
I durst have sworn that this place, where the muses be so conversant and the good arts so nourished, could not have been so void of humanity. I thought it impossible that ignorance should have nestled where knowledge is so powerful. But now I see my conjecture falsified. For if I should point out the true visage of clownery, I would accept of this for a true idea.
Faith, to speak truly, thou mayst go further and speed worse. Minerva, our foundress, in my conceit, was very provident in adjoining herself to such drugs. How else should we have them serviceable?
Thou seekest experience hath showed the contrary. Instead of our servants, they seem to be our masters. Their power is too absolute. They muddy slaves think themselves too good to be our servants.
Aye, and we'll retain that thought, except some true-spirited gentlemen make them feel our stripes for their disobedience, and renew the ancient club law. Had I but authority, I would curb their foaming mouths and show them by nature to be mere drudges.
Alas, poor young brain, that couldst thou effect more than those who have managed their actions by experience, and have had wisdom written in the furrows of their face.
Experience hath made them too wise, but sirrah, we shall bestow some time to bring them to their ancient duty. I durst presume to effect it.
Aye, you may presume, yet you will hardly assume anything by this presumption. But, Musonius, I will follow thee. I am at thy service.
Now is the time of their election, when they will be plotting some villainy against us. I durst lay my head, the bakerly, lecherous, pettifogging Niphill will be chosen burgomaster. He hath bought him a satin suit already. He must have a fling at us. Now, if we could be but partakers of their counsel, they were our own.
Why, that is easy. If we could but humour their wives. They are such good, kind, loving gossips, and all theirs is ours. I know they will not conceal their own thoughts, much less their husbands' secrets. Either this way we must work, or else be ignorant.
I' faith, Philenius, thy counsel is allowable, but men's censures will pass hardly upon us for conversing with such unconstant gossips.
Never regard their conjectures, but our own intents. Lead on, I'll follow you.
And they exit. So briefly just pause there. Cricket helpfully sort of giving us a little bit of a sense of why he was randomly throwing an apple at someone's head. So, you know, that little cricket bit was quite helpful there. And then, we've got two sort of worthies sort of going, oh, these young people wandering around with their club law and their disruptive behaviour. And, oh, God. It's, yeah. And yeah, they're having that little discussion amongst themselves there. So a little breathing space between this and the next scene with lots of people in it. Any thoughts in the room before we go forward? No. Okay, let's dive into chaos. Liza, you are everyone, or almost all the random people. So we've got a sort of core group of Brecknock, etc., and Tavie, and then we've got an awful lot of other people going on here in this scene, including me. So this should be interesting chaos. Act 1, Scene 6. Enter Brecknock, Rumford, Colby, Spruce, Tavie, bringing out cushions and a table, Puff, Catch, Niphill, the electors, and Cipher. Prithee, Puff, keep thy rank.
You will teach me, will you, by my father's soul bell?
Why, how sauce boxes! If you be not more orderly, I'll send you where you shall. Come, my brethren, let's about this gear, that I may be unloaded of this burden. Mr. Town Clerk, see that all the electors be present. Call their names.
Mr. Sixpenny, Mr. Littleworth.
Find them.
Mr. Halfcake, Goodman Cowby.
Here, sir.
Mr. Astley.
Oh, please, your worships, my landlord is gone to see his Willow's lot. He'll be here by and by.
The court must not stay for him. Find him. All the rest.
Mr. Lobson, Goodman Ketlebasen.
Here, sir.
Mr. Thurtons.
Please, your worships, my gossip Thurtons went on Wednesday to Thebes to buy some fells at the leather fair.
Marry, even find Mr. Thurtons, a mark, that is, a groat more than his name.
The electors laugh at Master Burgomaster's jest. All together now.
Oh, no.
Mr. Moone the elder.
I thought within this 14 night I should never have seen your worships again. A scurvy jade gave me such a fall.
Master Moone is sick and hath a cutcher.
Mr. Silverborough.
Is he not here? We'll make him borrow silver or gold to pay his mercement.
And they laugh.
Mr. Esdras, Mr. Fescu, Mr. Malais?
Let them be well fined. It is a shame for them.
Goodman Hornsbie.
Here, sir.
And Brecknock sneezeth.
God
At you.
bless
God
your
bless
worship.
your worship.
Phew!
Mr. South Cox.
There is none such, sir.
It's Mr. Westcox. Mr. Westcox. Goodman Woodcock.
They laugh.
Mr. Westcox.
It is so indeed.
He keeps house in the country, for I think he hath left the town.
He was never otherwise like.
Goodman Gooseturd.
Here, sir.
Well said, Oliver Gooseturd. Faith, thou art a true penny ever.
And please, God, sir, I'll perform my Christian duty as long as I live.
Mr. Jonas.
Oh, he was here even now. Goodman Tavie, is he not at your house?
I was drunk here in the morning. He said, and please called her. Would call you Goodman Cowper.
Goodman Nixon.
Nick him off the score.
I'm not a crook.
Goodman Cooperburne.
I saw him here about, Goodman Cowper. Did you not see Goodman Cooperburne?
Oh, here, sir.
Come. You've been thrice called here. Here's Goodman Cooperburne, sir.
Here, sir. My wife was sick and sent for me, sir.
The court must neither stay for you nor your wife. The Duke must be served. Well, take off his fine, if you were fined for this word once.
Mr. Anderton.
Here, sir.
Mr. Slug.
Mr. Slug, why do you not answer when you are called?
Yes, sir.
This is gallant that no man will tongue it, but we cannot stay all the day on them. Sorry, I got that wrong. You have not your name for nothing. Methinks you are very slow.
Goodman Gallant. Goodman Tonguet.
This is gallant that no man will tongue it, but we cannot stay all the day on them. Let us go to it with those that we have. Now, Mr. Town Clerk, certify the cause.
I will declare it presently. In the ancient Persian commonwealth, you shall find very often that the wheeled public flourished in the time of the monarchy. Even so, I say here, if I may be so bold to compare, comparisons being so odious, bringing in dissensions, hatred and malice being so great enemies to a commonwealth, and also...
Nay, Mr. Spruce, leave these circumstances and come to the prologue of the matter.
But I will hasten them, for time hath wings, I cannot deny, but we admire that these gentle Athenians dare compare with us politicians. Machiavellians, good Saint Mary, what have they but we have? They their rector, we are burgomaster. They their nurseries, we are fraternities. They their phylarchs, we are bailiffs. They their anti-bubblers, We are sergeants, they their non-clamators, we are criers, they their orator, est vost habitus me herculum Spruce.
Truly, Mr. Spruce, you have par-breaked your mind very well. Now, sir, for the cause of this semblance.
I will dispatch the ancestors of this town very well, seeing the disconveniences which might arise by the continuous of magistrates, enacted and ordained that our burgomaster should be annual, either thereby to pull down them that grew proud, or to ease them that laboured for the maintenance of our estate, and to unload Mr. Brecknock of his great pains, which he hath undergone for the common good. We must discharge him of his office, and choose some other of an upright conversation and integrity to be head over this body.
I pray you do. I'll but speak a word or two in discharge of your duties. Now, you know it is an old adverb, so many men, so many meanings. How then should I, being but a man, please all? No, indeed, I have not sought to please all, but in my conscience to perform the duty of a good magistrate. And though I say it that should not say it, seldom comes the better. As every pair of stocks hath his appointed holes, some for great knaves, some for less, so is it in our burgomastership. A man must have holes. That is, ears, to hear their suits. Some big ears, some great ears for great matters, some small ears for little matters. Now, seeing it is so, good fellows of our incorporation, if at any time my ear hath been stopped, as I am sure it hath not been but upon some great need, I ask forgiveness, and crave pardon. If the gridiron be not scoured, the fish boiling thereon will stick on, and so be broken into mammocks. So, if the governor be not scoured with the sand of sincerity, the fish, that is to say the Commonwealth, will stick unto it, and be utterly confiscated. I hope that there is not any can or will say that I have consumed or broken anything. God is my judge, I have not, bis non plus.
No, truly.
Neither would I, that worthy man, non plus again. Now, Gooseturd, you goosecake, you. Why, sirrah, know not who I am?
In truth, sir, I did not laugh.
I will make you know that I represent the person of the Duke.
Truly, sir, I did not laugh.
No, go you and stand here a while. Come hither. I mean you, Mr. Moone. Did you not hear him laugh?
Mr. Moone.
Please, your worship, by cock, I did not hear him laugh.
Stand you by there. Come hither, good man Cowper. I am sure you will tell me truth. Go to and say.
Indeed, sir, I can say no.
Go to it.
I can say nothing to it.
Can you not so, sirrah? Well, set £5 on his head.
It's your name, Thomas Cowper?
I am not ashamed of my name. My name is Roger Cowper.
Are you all of a pack? I'll take a round course with you all.
Nay, I pray you, sir. I think.
Go to.
I think he did smile, but I know not well.
Well, then, stand you there. Come hither, sirrah. Good man Cowper is an honest man. He hath told me the truth. Go to confess, if you will have any favour.
Aye, dear. Oliver Gooseturd, it will make the matter better for you, i' faith. Indeed, Mr. Rumford, to tell your worship's true, seeing I must needs tell, I did laugh, but, sir, reverence to you and to the bench, it was because good man Cowper made escape.
Nay, you must not think you could escape Master Burgomaster's hands. I tell you, he is the wisest governor in this government that came in this 20 years. He will ferret you the truth.
Nay, I thank God, Mr. Cipher, I have examined harder matters than these, and have found out the truth. Go your ways now, and behave yourselves better hereafter. Take off their fines, but now to proceed. Over and besides, there be some evil-disposed persons who have called me cruel man. Indeed, I must confess I am something angry by nature, and once I made a foul fault by fettering a wench to keep her from her bawdry. Besides that, I know nothing, whereby I may be blamed. Now, therefore, it is your duties to you, Mr. Electors, I speak it, to choose some man like unto me, who may follow my steps, and with a good courage preserve our ancient liberties, which hoping you will do, as I receive this dignity at your hands, so I render it again into your fingers. Now, therefore, Mr. Electors, you are best about your duties. This, therefore, is the cause of our dissemblance, and the whole feat of the matter.
For your care and study of the public good, we are much bound to you, good Mr. Brecknock, and suppose your carriage be so good that no man justly can find fault with it.
And you are of my mind, for you have performed your duty very deftly.
Aye, I'll warrant you, he that says he will do better may do worse.
Faith, Mr. Rumford, who shall be our burgomaster now?
By my soul, Mr. Shabbat. He is a very honest man. He is worth £200.
And he will undo us all as a man should undo an oyster. He loves the gentle Athenians too well. The other, you know, his father was a baker. He brought him up prettily to his book. He's a pretty pettifogging lawyer, a kind of attorney. He'll draw blood to these gentle Athenians. He'll tickle 'em in faith.
The electors cry within, Niphill,
God hath blessed us in giving us such a burgomaster.
Hotspluder, ferry, clatter, our ship's burgomaster.
Yea, I told you it would be he. I' faith, he is worthy of it. Is he gone for?
Or will come by.
Nay, I doubt not, but he'll do very well.
Lo, here he comes. Mr. Town Clerk, certify, inform.
Renowned Mr. Niphill, knowing by the good carriage of yourself in sundry affairs that you are man fit to bear rule, we have erected and constituted you the pilot of our ship, which you must not refuse, but receive with great alacrity and courage.
Although my sundry employments in greater affairs and my late sickness might sufficiently excuse me, yet pitying this ruinous estate, I will not refuse it, but receive it, that I may renew it and make it a flourishing city.
It were a great pity you should.
Marry, the town weighed of mickle want of you.
Now, therefore, being your governor, mark how I inform you of the way of obedience. Marcus Aurelius, that famous Roman English orator, says, old men for wit and young men for wisdom. I would say young men for old men and old men for young men, but I will assure you that it is a wise speech. The same Aurelius thinketh it impossible for a man to be a bailiff, headsman, constable, or muckamar, that is, timbersome or afraid, which being true as it is no lie, let us fetch an example from ourselves. To what a low estate have we been brought by too much timorousness of former magistrates, so that we've been made servants of rulers. I could not but admire that men in authority should be so base-minded. Did we not see a snip-snap barber give the most worshipful of our society, the bakerly knave, Aye, and had not a young lusty lad taken it in hand, that it had been pocketed up to our great discredit. I say, and will stand to it, we have but mean rulers of our cities. Very fools.
Do you mean me, sir?
Oh, peace, Cipher! Peace! They were not able to govern their own private families, but now I hope you have chosen one which shall do you the ancient credit and make them stoop, but spur at our authority. Neither will cut the throat of iniquity like a calf, nor knock down sin like a bullock. But I will so boot the meal of this city that I will make it all fine flour. And the rest I will make into horse bread and turn it into the manger of destruction. And as for these gentle Athenians, I will rout out the whole generation of them and make the vagabonds seek their dwellings, that they shall not nestle with us in our streets, nor outbrave us in our own dunghills. They shall trudge. They shall trudge if Nicholas Niphill be head of this city. They shall pack with bag and baggage. But impatience makes me forget myself. Now therefore, seeing I am your governor, you shall be obedient servants, and assist me with life and goods to be at my command, else I will not manure these affairs. Say, will ye?
We will.
You will not. I myself, now I have power, will punish those stiff-necked students, and show that I have to command, therefore ye perform your duty.
You may presume upon the good endeavours of the citizens, else, sir, you may use your own discretion.
You may put them to mickle swing, else.
Hi, it is high noon.
It is indeed.
Truly, my stomach telleth me so.
Now, sirs, seeing you have performed your duty, I indict you to a feast. Now, let them get in. Follow me till all the feast be solemnized, which being finished, we must be here again presently to consort about sundry affairs. Tavie, take thy place next by person.
God give you
God
joy,
give you
Mr.
joy,
Burgomaster.
Master
God
Burgomaster.
give you
Joy.
joy.
I thank
give
you,
you
good
joy.
I thank you, good subjects all. God bless you, good subjects all. I thank you, good subjects all.
Exuent, everybody. So Greg, you know, using your Lord Mayor training there for the ending there. You know, thank you so much for your adulation. As we all know, obviously, the Manger of Destruction, that was an early episode of Doctor Who, now sadly lost. There's some really great lines sort of being flying out here. The sand of sincerity. I particularly like.
Yeah, that whole fish metaphor is really powerful. I think today's politicians should use it.
That's right, they're lacking these great metaphors to help everybody understand.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, a lot of Brecknock stuff is really nice. Niphill stuff is really... There's some really good things. And, you know, the basic gag of, throughout all that self-indulgent thing of, you know, who's here? They're not here. Find them! Find them straight away. It's just... Brecknock, the outgoing burgomaster here, is, clearly wants to get all the money coming in. It's very Alice in Wonderland, actually. You know, off with his head. Find him straight away. Liza.
Well, you know, this is really interesting when you put it up against other political comedies from classical Greece through the 20th, 21st century, that usually the joke in the comedy of an election is that everyone really wants it and is fighting over it. But no, Brecknock can't wait to get rid of his job. It's a pain in the ass. And half the electors haven't turned up. Voting isn't something you stand in line to do. Voting is your civic duty, and it's an onerous duty. Most people don't turn up and get fined. Excuse to trot out all the comedy names, like in the I'm reminded of the Key and Peele sketch East-West Bowl, where they're introducing all the American football players, and their names get increasingly ridiculous. And anyway, you should watch it. But yeah, I'm intrigued by this. It sort of looks forward to Hogarth's Humours of an Election, but in Humours of an Election, again, everyone really wants the job and is prepared to lie, cheat, and steal to get it. Whereas Niphill seems to be the only person who actually wants the job. There's one other candidate proposed, Mr. Shavit, but we never see him. We do see Niphill, who wants the job and has promised Tavie to make him chief sergeant. So the plot thickens.
Yeah, and there's just this game is being played very nicely. I'm enjoying it so far. I think, as with many of these sort of semi-university things, that they're possibly a little self-indulgent at times. But hey, that's fine. Eric, then Desna.
Yeah, I was putting in the chat that it reminded me a lot of I think it's the Headmaster sketch that Rowan Atkinson does, where it's like, yes, taking like the register with ridiculous names from like, has anyone seen, herpes or something like that, and it's like genital and all that stuff. And also I did just enjoy the line, "I will not manure these affairs." It just, yeah, some of these lines are great.
Desna.
Yeah, I guess sort of. I'm in Camp Niphill as well, Liza, by the way. But just picking up on some of the things about the politics, it feels like a bit like kids playing dressing up and pretending to do politics. I guess there's a sort of it's hard to tell because I'm not quite sure what Athens refers to, and the burgomaster is clearly not an Athenian position, and all these kinds of things. So it kind of feels like all these things are mixed up because it's like kids playing a game.
Yeah, there's a sort of weird fudge to it. It feels like it should really be about university, but it's sort of not at the same time, and it's slightly fudging the edges, and how it's sort of, nobody's directly referring to themselves in that way. That even though it's clearly about their masters and the students and the various, how do you control students, them and their club law, but using this sort of wafer thin conceit of this institution, whatever it is that they're discussing here. Tom, then Eric.
I was just about to say, I mean, I love Tavie. I mean, I can't even understand him. Cots pudder, ferry cladder, our ship's burgomaster. There will come pie. You could just make little sounds, and it's a complete goon of a part. It's pretty difficult, but enjoy it, Eric.
Yeah, I mean there is sense within it. There is a logic to how it's written, but it's right. There's a lot of work that would need to be done to really follow where it's going and how it functions.
There is, but it's stage Welsh, which means that if you put a Welsh accent on it and just say what's written, a lot of it will come out. Yes, it does need work, but that's the quick fix.
Eric.
Well,
was that helpful advice?
Yeah, totally. I don't know what a Welsh accent sounds like, or at least like the Scottish one is stronger, so it's kind of like it's easier to sort of go for Scottish. But yeah, I mean it's sort of just further south, I tell myself. Yeah, I don't know. This is very much like sort of dress up stuff because they just sort of we got it over and done with, and I don't know. It just kind of. The fact that they're taking the register means that they all know each other. I don't know, it's so weird. And I feel like I need more context, but also I was kind of hoping that club law, like law would be the name of a club. Sort of, I don't know. I don't know, maybe with really boring music or something. Like Beethoven, or I don't know.
That it was also reminding me of a Zoom meeting actually at times. I was expecting someone to say that the other, slug was muted. Sort of what my half expectation there. Anyway, we must move on. Act 1, Scene 7. Enter cricket, and actually for this particular scene, what was I going to do? Yeah, Greg, be catch for this scene, if you would. I think there's no clashing there.
Subjects. This arrogant ass thinks himself some little king. He carries his nose up in the wind and doth snuff it like some brewer's horse. The ass must needs imitate absurdity. You would not think how it grieves me that these blocks should feast it so quietly, and yet the spite is, I cannot invent how to disturb them. But that Welsh rogue troubles me for following me so hard. Well, I'll cozen him of his dinner if I help him to something else. I'll go to him boldly, for I am sure he knows me not. He inquired my name, but nobody would tell it him. And besides, I have disguised myself a little. Faith, whether he knows me or not, I'll venture it, that's certain. But I wonder how a Murron, a Welshman, should come to Athens. But I think in my conscience there came but one in a ship, and he was the one that came hither. Well, now I'll about my tricks, tic-tac-toe. I pray, sir, is not Tavie within?
Aye, he is within.
May a man speak with him?
I cannot tell. He is busy. But I'll see. Oh, Tavie!
Oh, call here.
Who is one would speak with you?
What pox is here, can I tell?
A gentle Athenian.
What will er have some fiddle? God be thanked. Here is some good pasty and pie.
Come see.
God morrow to her, will er speak with me?
Aye, good Mr. Tavie. I am so bold as to trouble you, honest Mr. Tavie.
Will er tell me why?
Marry, sir, a gentleman, one Mr. Morgan, that is new, came to town, is very desirous to speak with you a word or two. Good Mr. Tavie, honest Mr. Tavie.
Hey, cover her head, man. Cod's blood, man, cover her head. Why the pox that our ship's gentleman come to town to speak to her? Fair shall speak with her. Fair shall her speak with her our ships.
At our lodging. Follow me, and I'll bring you to him instantly.
Nay, her must serve Mr. Burgomaster our ship first. Tell her, we'll come anon.
Nay, if ye come not presently, her must take horse and be gone. Her stay upon you, therefore, honest Mr. Tavie. If you will follow me, do. If not, I have done my errand.
Hold what saucy Jack front pox on her. Her will go, but her will come home again presently.
As you will for that. I pray you, let's make haste.
Will her drink, man?
No, 'tis too gross. Let us be gone.
Aye, lead the way. Tell her how her welcome.
I'll lead you where you shall be safe these 2 hours.
And they exit Act 1, Scene 8. Enter Puff and Monsieur.
These sweating are half drunken already. I'll go see if I can meet with any boon companions that I may show them what good cheer our town makes. Methinks our new burgomaster begins to lay it on lustily. Oh, that I could meet with any of my fellow puffers. Let me see. There's a certain Frenchman called Monsieur Grand Combattant. I was in his company the other day. It'd make a horse laugh to hear him talk. If I can meet him, I'll carry him to the feast as round as a jeweller's box. He is as good as a fool to make us sport. God's daggers, here he is! He shall go with me, that's certain.
By God, me cannot stay in the house, me cannot tell the reason. All the good fellows be gone. I say come to in the town where I be married.
Oh, Monsieur, I am very glad I have met with you. Faith, you shall stay.
Oh, Mr. Puffin throat, me very glad to see your worship. Come, shall we go drink a quart of wine at the Cap?
Stay, you shall go with me.
Shall we go play the weather in the cat?
No, here. Mr. Burgomaster makes a great feast. You shall go with me to dinner.
To dinner? Monsieur Burgomaster makes good share. Is good wine?
Aye, come, let's go.
Oh, Lord, sir, it is no matter for that. Me thank you for your courtesy. I and Trant I will follow.
You shall be very welcome.
Me thank you.
And exit path, we can infer, because Act 2, Scene 1... Oh, no, they both exit, because it's a gap between acts, so there's probably a break. But we're just going to read the next little bit anyway. Act 2, Scene 1, Monsieur Solus.
Mm-hmm. Entrant is no good share. The scurvy flesh makers. Thief, all the flesh, all the ale, all the beer, is scurvy dinner. Never wine, the scurvy rogue puff make good godly leer. Abuse me. He speak French, the great clown so laugh. Abuse, all so full cow, mutton, veld, porridge is not tart and not custard. Ne wine, ne tinge caballero and Trant. We will go to the academics. We will be merry. It is better good fellows.
And possibly exit Monsieur there. So, yeah, slightly confusing little bits there. But, yes, we've got two little mini scenes with encounters. Encounters of the various entertainments that are available in the world of club law here. Any thoughts from the room before we go into the next bigger scenes? Angela.
I love that we've already got the French saying that the English food is rubbish. Everything about it is rubbish.
Yeah, come with me to dinner. And it just comes back on and goes, it was awful. It's just 1 star from on TripAdvisor. Okay. Let's dive into the rest of Act 2 then. Act 2, Scene 2. We have Niphill, Colby, Rumford, Cipher. I don't know why I'm reading the names out. Nobody watching this can have a clue who anyone is. Cipher, Brecknock, sergeants, electors do their duties to Master Burgomaster. Indeed. And go out.
Surely it could not be but available if you just undertake it, Mr. Colby.
For God, sir, it would make them disburse their coin, and we might be honest savers by it. But let every man give me his counsel.
You say well. Mr. Brecknock, I command you to mount your judgment how we might bring under these, as we call them, gentle Athenians, who being proud in regard of a goddess called Minerva, call us falsely hoided Athenians, whereas indeed they themselves are but our vassals. Are they not called ragtails, longtails, tattertails, we burgomaster headsmen, which signifieth no less than our worthiness and their baseness, which shows us to be the head, they the tails? I say, how we might make them yield true allegiance to their sovereign, whereas now they seek to bring us under them, or at the least to make us one with them, and to so be our servants.
By my tricks, in my foolish opinion, I'll tell you what. We have a great many of pretty smug girls in the town. They shall let the gentle Athenians in, and they shall get them with child. And all the gentle Athenians shall have bastards, and then the gentle Athenians shall be married, and so we shall be rid of them.
This cannot be but available.
The poor slaves are not able to keep their bands. What deal shall we do with it?
Well, we'll make them our bond slaves, or anything.
Aye, anything.
I wonder men of your place will bring forth such reasons. What say you, Mr. Colby?
Faith, if we could but get away their gilded staves, they would not jet it as they do, I'll tell you. We'll say they be full of... I'll tell you. We'll say they be full of rich pearls. And so they shall be broken for the Duke, and we will feast upon them.
Oh, too bad. So we shall be found liars and repair them again. What say you, Mr. Rumford?
Marry, sir, 'twere good to thwack their crags and make their bones sore.
I could say something, but it is no matter. I know not what I know.
I think it were very good to put up a supplication together with the information of the injury they have offered us, and so to crave constraint of their liberties.
What say you to fire their lodging?
Nay, good sir, take heed what you do. My house is not far off. I had rather spend 20 and 10 nobles, too.
I tell you, in a common good, the firing of one private house is not to be respected, but I will not do it. Now every man mark my charge and take my commandment. You, Mr. Colby, shall forestall the markets and carry away their corn, for you have obtained your suit.
What the deal shall I do?
You, Mr. Rumford, shall see them receive their reward, I say, by some manner of means to have them well beaten.
Faith, I'll lay on their sides. They shall have their own club law.
Mr. Brecknock and Mr. Cipher, and the rest shall be my assistants. And you, Mr. Spruce, shall draw the articles. Do it presently. Do it, I say! It is your duty.
I pray you, sir, let everybody give his article, and I'll form them.
They shall begin, Mr. Brecknock.
Well, what if I put up this, that the gentle Athenians spend more upon fiddlers under the colour of musicians in rowing down the river than would maintain Mr. Burgomaster's house and the 3 sergeants very sufficiently?
Hold your hand, Mr. Spruce, hold. Methink you might have the more wit than to write such a foolish article. They would say we were very fools if they saw this. Mr. Rumford, yours?
The lads spend more in shoe tyings than 60 headsmen do in scarlet. Why would not an end of a point or a piece of a glove serve, but they must spend a tester, I say 6pence, upon ribbons?
Where am I? Note down that it would inform their prodigality. I thank you, good Mr. Rumford.
Nay, faith, it is not so mickle worth.
Mr. Colby, yours.
That whereas it is enacted and ordained, good Mr. Spruce, right in the year 1400, they, contrary to the same act, have violently carried away the daughters of our townsmen, and them used, sending them home diseased with tympanies, so that they and theirs lie upon our hand to our great charge and impoverishment.
This will serve, Mr. Cipher, yours.
What you please, sir, that shall be. God have given you the gift of speaking.
And you of silence. Now, masters, let's hear the supposition. Supplication, sorry.
The worthy burgomaster and injured men of this incorporation, being overladen with the burden of injuries, do prostrate themselves at your feet, craving your aid and assistance against the unsupportable wrongs of the gentle Athenians. And least that you should think that the causeless we complain, we have here set down the causes of our grief, which, hoping you will redress, thus we the article.
What is the first?
The worthy burgomaster, Max.
Yeah, I'll set it down. The thrice worthy burgomaster. The right worshipful Mr. Nicholas Niphill. It may be that they will hear it the sooner for my sake. So, Mr. Spruce, see these dispatched. We'll come on them every way, by force, by complaint. If my conjecture fail me not, we shall have the day. My masters looked to your charges and performed the duty of good subjects. We must now depart, for I have detained you somewhat long.
I'll bang them, and I do not the deal on my crag.
And whatsoever you say or do, Mr. Burgomaster, I'll say it is well done.
And in so doing, you shall show yourselves good townsmen. But let us be gone. Where are sergeants? Where's Tavie? For God, I wonder I saw him not at the feast. Doth he wait on himself? Let us be gone.
And they go. Yes. There's a lot going on there. It's just lots of good suggestions. How do we deal with people? Beat them, thwack their crags. That's a good suggestion. Burn down people's houses. Always a good way of dealing with people. So yeah, there's all sorts of interesting suggestions of stuff going on here. Eric.
I feel like Niphill, depending on how you want to pronounce it, is it's kind of like he has a cape, so then he can just go, "Let us be gone." Whoosh, the cape. I don't know. It has that sort of vibe to it because it's very sort of flamboyant in a way.
It does feel like power has gone to his head. Liza.
Well, as a man in authority, I think he was entitled to wear a gown or a long coat of some kind. There was some sort of proverb, which I forget the exact wording of, that children, fools, and those in political office wore long coats. So, he's got some swoosh going on.
And I do like the I just reading Cipher, just the way that Cipher is always going, yes, whatever he just said is amazing, yes.
I do like the that line. I forget. I was going to say something, but 'tis no matter. I know what I know.
Yeah. Yes, when he's trying to arslick Niphill, and Niphill just goes, "And you silence." It's just shush now. There's some really nice dynamics between some of these people that's going on that I'm really enjoying. Okay, we have some short. I say short, but a couple of short scenes or short speeches, sort of speechy bits before we go into dialogue again. So Act 2, Scene 3. Eric's just so pleased as we have Tavie alone to speak in a monologue for a while.
All the devils in hell take her. What the fuck is her all gone? Pluttered her nails, or was never served such a prank in all her life. A little knave made her lose her dinner, and her back beaten, and her belly's empty. God's blood, her was not care 2 rushes for the clericals. As for her pasty and her pie, and pest tart. But mark her now, she'll tell her tale, a very sad tale, which makes her eyes to water and her heart to weep. Tavie, a chief sergeant down in the mountains, spent all her days was to go see Mr. Morgan, her countryman, in the academy. And Tavie was follow a little knave up his chamber where when Tavie was locked up and was not let out. Tavie stayed there all dinner and was very cold, but a little knave was steel, so gallant Tavie was whipped and abused and lose her dinner. Tell her was not that a very good sad tale. It was very true, and how shall lose all could share, and lose Mr. Bargain Masters could well have some of her flute and revenge. But now her will go to Mr. Bargain Master, tell her tale, and place God, and excuse herself.
And exit Tavie. Act 2, Scene 4. Enter Mistress Colby, solus.
Jesus bless me! What do our men mean to abuse such proper gentlemen, such learned men, that conjure the devil into a circle and put him again in hell, and do such strange things as they be? In faith, they themselves are such hoydens that they cannot endure such musk companions. In good truth, there was one at our house the other day, ne'er trust me if he did me not good at the heart to look upon him. I offered him but a cup of beer, and God is my judge, my husband told me I would bestow all that I had on him. I'll lay my life that the cuckold is jealous, but I'll cry quit with him. Good Lord, that I could meet with that same good gentleman, Mr. Musonius, if I would not tell him all my husband's knaveries. I pray God I never have good of him. But good Lord, here comes Mistress Niphill. Hearken what she says.
Enter Mistress Niphill.
In faith, as it's even so. I dare pour my maidenhead, he is going about to cut queen me. He had so much private conference with Tavie, all must be gone forsooth. Great matters, no doubt, what with that Welsh rascal. Good Lord, I cannot but wonder why the women should please him better than myself. I am sure I am not foul. I confess I am none of the fairest, and yet in faith have some have counted me so none of the brownest. If I were, it was something, but I thank God I am as proper as some of them. It is a marvel he's so lusty abroad and quiet at home. But go you abroad, and if I be not quick with you, never let me be Mistress Niphill more, and I'll make the gentle Athenians, whom ye hate so much, so as far in as yourself, if they be not too modest. I'll have first son this year, a gentleman in faith. I will but yonder is Mistress Colby. I'll see if she be not in my taking.
I'll go to her. Even Mistress Niphill, how doth Mr. Burgomaster, and all at home, forsooth? All well, forsooth, I hope?
Oh, good Lord! What do you mean to inquire after Mr. Burgomaster? 20 to 1 it is you that doth cut queen me.
Faith, so merrily disposed, marry you are happy that can be cuckweened. I'll warrant you, I shall never take mine in that fault.
By my maidenhead, you're in a miserable case. But whither are you walking?
Nay, Mistress Niphill, that's counsel.
Oh, good Lord, lady, are you so squeamish as though I know you not? Indeed, you are a wanton. Nay, trust me if you be not. But if it be you, as you say, I cannot blame you.
It is, even as I tell you. But how should I help myself now?
Oh, why let others? Among such a company of gallants, I would dare want one.
Why, but these gentle Athenians are such maiden-faced fellows. Ne'er credit me if I did not carry Mr. Musonius up into my bedchamber, and showed him my bed and arras hanging, and well, I shut the door, and asked him if it were not a fair and soft bed. And yet the fool understood me not, and thereupon I fell a talking of fine linen, and thereupon I had him see if my smock was not fine holland, and yet the fool understood me not. What could have a woman done more, unless...
And so I warrant you he'll be bold enough if you serve him such another trick.
But look, here he comes, and Mr. Philenius with him. These two are great, and why not we two?
And they remain on stage. Act 2, Scene 5. Musonius, Philenius, Mistress Colby, Mistress Niphill, still who are already on. So yes, enter Musonius and Philenius to the ladies.
See, Philenius, here are our gossips. Now we have good opportunity to work them.
Aye, good warrant you. Let us give them the unset. Gentlewoman, God save you.
Mr. Philenius, that is your body.
Good Lord, Mr. Musonius, what a stranger are you at our house? Do you think there are bears at our house?
No, Mistress Colby, but fearful lest in this suspicious age I should give any occasion of scandal to these quick tongues.
Good Lord, Mr. Philenius, how cold you are. You spoil yourself with too many books. Mine eyes would out if I should read so much.
Aye, your eyes are ordained for other uses. My eyes have vowed themselves to these studies. Aye, but why were you two together?
Oh, marry! We were talking of your unkindnesses.
My honesty, we said that you were very churls.
Oh,
Oh, why do you impose such a hard sentence upon us?
Our natures are opposites as such.
Oh, I know not, but I wonder you are so squeamish. That upon great courtesies and providers you give not the common courtesy so much as kiss.
A kiss. Why, these are the common courtesies of slight lovers. We deem kisses but trifles. Our loves are placed in our inward heart.
I pray you, let me have a trifle.
This is too slight a demand, fitting my conceit. But how can we affect you when those that are near unto you prosecute us with such unkindness? I mean, your husbands.
My troth, you say true, but God knows it is not our fault. We wish it otherwise.
Yea, and you would but look on us and like us and love us now and then, that there might be some familiarity between us. I know what I would do.
As far as any civility will permit, we are at your service. But what would you do?
Marry any whatsoever.
The more unconstant gill thou. But do you assent unto her?
I beshrew my heart else.
Why then, you know how irksome we are to your husbands, and upon that they are always plotting some villainy against us. Would you but inform us of their pretenses, that we might prevent them? You might gain to yourselves eternal lovers.
We will do it, so you be men of your words.
Indeed, we will do it, but we must not have you too modest, and to begin to show you how we will keep our promise, I tell you, I heard all the men in our town crying out against club law, and said you had marred them, and that they would be avenged of you, and in the end determined to beat you with your own weapons, and make you feel club law.
But when shall this be?
Tomorrow at a cudgel play, all the young lads in the town will be upon you. Therefore, look to yourselves. I'm sure I can do no more.
Will you, being gentlemen, be beaten down by a company of hoydens?
You cannot carry such a base conceit of us.
But as you have begun, so, Mistress Colby, let us have further intelligence of it tomorrow.
Tush, Mistress Colby. I'd rather you would call me Bess Colby. Come, you must leave this mistress and master if you mean to be true friends.
Truth, Mistress Colby! It were enough to make our husbands jealous! If they should see us here, therefore, gentlemen, we must crave pardon, if we do you no service.
Odd bodikins, you say true. My sugar cakes will be overbaked. Mr. Musonius, you will look to your promise. We will keep ours.
Presume upon us.
I pray you, Mistress Colby, let us taste of your sugar cakes.
I pray you, come, good Mistress Niphill. Forsooth they be homely ones, I warrant you.
And exit the ladies.
Sir Philenius, what an enticement we're here to incontinency, enough to corrupt the chastest thoughts, but let us not be careful of our credits to neglect the common good. If we pass in some small actions, I hope well-disposed judgments will ponder our intents.
First, for the husbands, let us follow that, which they have begun, and use but their own weapons, and turn them against themselves. But as for them, let us feed them with vain delays, lest the muses be not propitious unto us in our studies, being such professed enemies of Venus.
I assent to thee, and for mine own part, I hope my thoughts are of a higher pitch than to enter into such kennel thoughts, and dare almost promise for thee. But, sirrah, let us go certify these things to our friends, and see the performance of club law.
Content, I'll busy my thoughts upon the clownish subject to bring it to effect.
And they exit. So yeah, that was quite a dull scene. Nothing interesting happened there. That wasn't that fab. There were so many good things in there. Yeah. I kept hinting, and he just didn't get it. How many chances? You know, look at this fine linen that's just slipping off me.
I loved it when she said, and then I ended up talking about linen.
Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah. Yeah. What could a woman have done more? Yeah. There's again lots of great lines, and I love the whole thing of my sugar cakes will be overbaked. Let us taste of your sugar cakes. Yes. I mean, it's so much of this stuff. Yeah.
I was getting ready for a sticky buns joke, but
yeah. Well, you know, same energy. Eric, were you waving?
Yeah, it's just that scene with the describing, you know, I told him about the bed and like the linen on the bed and had him touch my smock. So I'm assuming that was the dress. And it's just like sort of, you can imagine her going, oh, and look, isn't this bed so nice? And just kind of him going, oh, yes, it's very nice, very nice. Sort of pretending not to understand, but also knowing exactly what she's doing. If not, just, yeah.
Well, her smock is not in fact her dress, but her undergarment. It's her underdress, which is the fine. It's the bit that's woven of the finest linen because you wear it next to your body, and it was a mark of, the finer it was a mark of high status. There you see women of high status in portraits with almost transparent linen, but. Yeah, so she's having him touch her underwear, and I also love the double entendre of her showing him her bed and arras hanging. But yeah, definitely just a tapestry. Definitely, yes.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely, yeah, certainly. Other thoughts from the room? Yeah, it's it's a really nice thing, and just to briefly talk about plot. So, Mistress Niphill thinks her husband is having affairs, and she's probably right. So, yeah, that's just a minor point that we should just bring in there. Yeah, a lot of cuckolding might be going on in this thing generally. Let's close the act. Act 2, Scene 6. After all this, we have Cricket comes on and does a little speech.
Never trust me if I be not overjoyed to think how I fitted Mr. Friend Tavie, how finely he was last, what sweet red lashes he had on his shoulders. I never saw a villain take it more patiently, I'll warrant you. The villain hath been in as many clerigals in his life as I have gathered phrases. This is worth some mirth, but I must be the man that must make the clowns yield when all is done. I have it that will make them pay for it, but you think I am no man of my word. Well, be it so. But yet, if you knew all, you would honour me presently. I follow the villains, and dogging them up and down as it is a part of my study to play the eavesdropper, as I can do it prettily, at Mr. Colby's parlour window. There I heard such a sackful of greasy consultations offensive to any good wit. There, to be short, I heard that Mr. Colby the collier should convey away corn under his coals tonight. I away presently came hither, consulting upon it how I might work upon this villain. What if I go now in the dearth and tell the poor people that they pluck out the villain's eyes? No, hang them. Our authority shall make them stoop. I'll even go and tell Masters Musonius and Philenius of it. I am sure it is imprisoning at the least. They will hamper him in a pair of shackles or something or other from our rector. Faith shall be even so. But what if they will not meddle with it? Why, then I'll search them out some way or other, that's certain. I'll about it.
Exit Cricket, as we'll go off for an interval break. Yeah, there's been mentions of this stuff to do with corn earlier. And Mr. Colby the collier should convey away corn under his coals tonight. And so yeah, there seems to be an element of the plot that's going on that maybe was better set up in the first scenes of the play that we don't have. But there's definitely something going on about that that has been referenced a couple of times. So it feels like there's stuff that we haven't quite fully engaged with. Angela.
This is a standard practice that could cause riots in this period, where somebody forestalled the market by taking the corn and hoarding it, so to force the prices up. So it's like the worst possible thing you can do, and of course causes all kinds of havoc because food prices go up and farmers can't buy grain and all that sort of thing. So it's quite interesting that that's supposed to affect the gentle Athenians. So, is that because they're farmers or because they need to buy food in the market? Not sure.
Yeah, it seems to be a market thing. There was talking about that earlier. Liza.
It may simply be that it's illegal that they're catching the collier and the burgomaster's party out in illegal activities. Was it illegal to hoard corn, Angela?
No, that's just.
Was bad.
He's a really bad person. But
was corn taxable? Is he trying to evade the tax on it?
No. This is the different plans by which they're going to attack the Athenians, the gentle Athenians, and one of the ways is to make them hungry by forestalling the market, buying up all the corn, putting it in store so that there's nothing on the market. There is no food, no grain in the market. So that's what that is.
And that's something that Niphill said earlier. You, Master Colby, shall forestall the market and carry away their corn, for you have obtained your suit. So, it's a deliberate policy from Nifill's new regime. But it's leaked. It's leaked out there, and there's something going to go on there. And all this stuff to do with go and tell Master Musonius and Philenius of it, the stuff will go on. Cricket's a really interesting character because he mostly just sort of turns on and does a speech and then goes off again, and he threw an apple earlier. He's sort of weird the way he functions in this, because he's not as present as so far as perhaps he feels he should be. Liza.
I get the feeling that Cricket is meant to be a very small boy, and that he's named Cricket because his voice is high pitched, and there's a sort of merry as a cricket proverb, isn't there? So he seems to essentially be in the role of the vice in this play, or of certainly of the clown, and he's a force of chaos. The first we see of him is him throwing an apple at someone's head, and then he has this elaborate scheme where he kind of grudge against Tavie, I guess, against Tavie. I guess maybe the grudge will have been established in those first scenes that are missing, possibly, but he's. He doesn't. So he has some kind of grudge against Tavie, and he lures him away from dinner, away from the pasties and the pies and all the deliciousness that the Frenchman doesn't like, but Tavie likes it, and he locks him into a little cold, drafty little room and gets him beat up. So and he misses his dinner, and that's very sad.
Yeah. It's not good times. So we have come to the end of Act 2. We have 3 more acts to go over sessions going forward. Obviously, it doesn't have an opening. We'd have to make an opening, as it were. But there's some great scenes individually. It is a bit self-indulgent at times, but it's quite funny self-indulgent. So I think with some tweaking, that sort of stuff works. I just like to remove the Mistress Niphill, Mistress Colby scene there with them chatting, and then their 2 would-be lovers coming in. I think that's a very removable scene in its own right. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It sort of works very nicely, so I'm quite pleased with that. So yeah, final thoughts around the room. I thought we might read a little bit further on, but I think I'll close the session now. Greg, any final thoughts?
I thought Niphill was going to be fun. My God, Mysteries with his wife was more. It was a pleasure having that tea with you, Angela. I think we almost outdid the whole upstaged everything else. I was thinking earlier and this is just me, but I was thinking about sort of the fronts people put on. So hence the reason that Mistress Niphill went from quite a rough-speaking lady when she was on her own, not on her own, to being a little more ladylike, and then the posh tart. And Niphill, I can just see people having sort of fronts and sides and whatever that, they put on something that is maybe not something physical, but a verbal sort of change. And they're in company in this play. I can just see there's a lot of potential for some quite good fun with voice. The rough and ready going through. But no, fab. I wasn't supposed to be here next Tuesday, but I think I'm going to have to be.
We'll see who's available when and what's the best. Where we are.
But I might sign up with a sort of, if it's this, then I'm in, because I'm not missing the next one of this. This is too much fun.
Tom, any final thoughts?
Yeah, the same tension, if you will, between the veneer and the pretentiousness, and the downright common, vulgar, if you will, speak. And I think that could be interesting in costume as well. This finery with tarnished or muddy frills at the edges. I think it has a nice. We've all enjoyed it because of that tension between the two worlds.
Eric, any final thoughts apart from please never give me that part ever again?
No, that was fun, even though I still don't know what I said. I mean, it started to get better after like the part where he says pie and pie, where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I know what we're talking about now. It just kind of, replacing P with B with P and all those things. But yeah, it's just such an interesting play because half of it like leaps off the page, like the dialogue, like with the. It's very vivid and you can actually see the characters doing things and plotting and all that stuff. And then you've got the sort of more self-indulgent bits that are a bit slow down a bit. But I thought it's fun. I want to know what happens next. And why they're punishing these people for existing.
Yeah. There was a grudge, man. It goes back years. Nobody can remember what it was. I don't know. I'm just making it up. Angela, any final thoughts?
It's been quite fun. This idea of town, it's not town country, it's town gown, isn't it? It's the town gown tension, which is kind of really interesting and very much, still goes on. But one thing that really struck me is that there are probably a million jokes in here that we're not getting. You'd have to work on it quite hard, and how much harder it is in a way to read this prose that's got jokes in it, and you don't quite see them. Whereas when we've read things that are in rhyme, somehow that you can kind of work it out quicker. So I'm kind of fascinated by the way that prose isn't necessarily your friend.
Yeah, early modern prose can be a trip hazard frequently. But also just the nature of some of the jokes, because there'll be in-jokes in this that we'll never know. Why certain people are saying certain things at times, because what's his name does this, and it'll be an in-joke of the highest proportion, and that's sort of when I'm talking about self-indulgence of just going bits that that's the gag that people, in the room, fell about laughing over some of those things, I'm sure. Liza, any final thoughts?
Yeah, building on what Angela said, this is town versus gown, and it's interesting because the students are gentle Athenians. That is, most of them are of high social status, but they're also much younger than the burgomasters. Some of them are boys, and a lot of them are poor and raggedy in appearance because students were. They're called draggle-tails and ragtails, and that's the state of their gowns, their students' gowns, which draggle in the mud and get ragged and get stepped on. So there's a lot of sort of interplay at work here, that they're higher status than the townsmen, but they're also really badly behaved, but they can't be disciplined for it because they're gentlemen. And meanwhile, the wives are all like, "Ooh, let's get us some gentlemen who won't even kiss us or do anything in our bedrooms, but they." Anyway, the students, dangerous, rowdy, ragged, disreputable, sexy. It's basically Ferris Bueller's Day Off if Ferris Bueller had an entire army of Ferris Buellers.
Fair enough. Desna, any final thoughts?
No, I think, like everybody else, I think it's been really good fun with some tricky bits. I'm looking forward to seeing what comes next, and I am making a mental note to watch Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which I've never seen, to give you some more context.
Okay. Have I gone around the room? Have I got any additional things to throw into the mix before I close the session? Eric.
I felt bad for Tavie not being able to have his dinner. It just felt so sad. Like he's probably the only good character in the whole thing. Like sort of following, Niphill around, sort of. Yeah, being faithful and trying to help, and everyone just makes fun of him because he's Welsh.
Yeah. Apologies to the Welsh nation there. And on that note, I will thank all the wonderful readers for all their wonderful reading. Thank you very much, everyone, and goodbye. A man must have holes.